Gentlemen, welcome back to the Turner Podcasting Network right here on IndieQuebec.com. It's the Prez back with the stinger. We're back on that nitro.
Oh man,
The last week before Starrcade 2000. I feel like this has gone fast, and as bad as some of the episodes have been, I've actually overall enjoyed this. How have you found this, Stinger?
it was interesting. Also, it was held on a Tuesday.
Yeah,
It was
on
held on a
Tuesday.
Tuesday. I think it was held on a Tuesday, and that ruined the RDS. Like you know how RDS used to play it, so they
exactly.
ruined it, and then it wasn't written in the TV guide. So I was furious. I was like, when are they gonna play this?
Yeah,
I'm getting
what
screwed.
happened? Did they fire? Because
So
we didn't know. It's like maybe WWF got WCW kicked off TSN and RDS.
that's it. So I was tripping. I was like, oh no, are they done? Like, is this horrible product finished now? Like they just pulled it out? But I think they played it Saturday. I remember, like, when you'd miss one in the week, they would play it on Saturday during the day too, like before noon. I don't know if you remember, like
exactly.
Sunday.
Like the Saturday morning wrestling.
Blondin would cover them. Blondin, Marc Blondin, represent, man.
Also still covering TNA Impact Wrestling.
Absolutely.
So a special Tuesday Nitro. I wonder why that was. We don't know.
I think TNT. I think I had read something. TNT was holding a special show. I don't know if it was football or it was like a football special. No,
I think it could have been basketball because
it could have been basketball.
I've seen on some episodes that I had watched.
This was December-ish, so yeah, December-ish.
I know that they had basketball on TNT. It could have been something related to that.
But for something to get Nitro to be replaced to Tuesday must have been quite big, maybe. Yeah. Like big enough to move wrestling. But they were like, it's okay if we move it. This product is a piece of shit.
That kind of was the direction it was going, yeah, unfortunately. So we're live from Shreveport, Louisiana, which was originally part of the Mid-South territory, which became UWF before it was bought. That's where wrestlers, Jim Ross isn't a wrestler, but that's where Jim Ross started.
Yeah, Bossier City.
A lot of, exactly, it was the New Orleans, Oklahoma territory, and a bit of Texas. At one point, Mid-South itself had its own show on TBS, other than WCW. Before it was bought, it had, like, TBS didn't only show WCW at one point. They showed a couple other wrestling companies, including Mid-South, which actually had better ratings than WCW.
Right.
But then the owner, who was Bill Watts, he sold his territory and all the cities to Crockett Promotions.
Interesting.
And then Crockett Promotions started running. Well, at first they actually kept it two separate companies, but then they just started running those cities. So you could say, like, this was a very WCW town, like New Orleans, WCW, Crockett. They'd been running there since, since before Ted Turner had acquired WCW. Since
history in the making, man.
The old Mid-South days.
Man, this is history in the making for sure. Thank you. Absolutely.
So it's a great wrestling town, even though it's Shreveport. So, like, it's not a name that you really associate that much as, like, a big wrestling town, maybe like Chicago, New York.
Yeah. It was like out of the ordinary, but local like that is good. Usually it's real.
Yeah.
The vibe in there,
and
the atmosphere.
These guys are like, dude, those are like the wrestling fans. Dude.
Yeah,
like,
they'll kill you.
They thought Ric Flair was like a fucking real world champion. They thought the heels were fucking. They tried to stab Jim Cornette back in the day and shit like that.
Yeah. Like, that's crazy. They were raw, these guys.
Yeah. So this is the last Nitro before Starrcade 2000. So it's really a build-up episode, for better or for worse. Sometimes that's right. Thing, sometimes not.
Yeah, like, you never know, Nitro. But also Stevie Ray, the commentator. Stevie Ray's back.
Stevie Ray on Nitro.
To Stevie Ray on Nitro, Tony Schiavone and good old Scott Hudson, which I liked as well, both.
So I don't know what happened. Do you think they fired Madden?
It depends. If the next show he's not there, then this confirms the fire Madden, because remember he made some comments about pay or some backstage like things that weren't supposed to come out. I think he talked. They said he had a big mouth.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
revealed some
Like,
things that he wasn't supposed to reveal, like coming directly from the powers corporate, dude. You can't go and talk against corporate. I think that's what
I think
happened.
anyone who's worked in a corporation knows that.
Because I remember out of nowhere we just didn't see him anymore. Exactly. The ministry too, but no, but like the ministry would kill you. They would like possess you. They would put, like,
yeah.
you remember?
Sacrifice you and then change your name.
We had Ray Trailer, rest in peace, get you. But
we got
so we didn't see him. I think after
this
we'll
might
see.
have been the end of Mark Madden, but we'll see as we keep reviewing the weeks.
Stargate's coming.
Once again, they're heavily pushing Backstage Assault as Christmas is only a couple weeks away.
Did you play?
I mean, I played it a couple times back in the day. It was so horrible.
Yeah.
But I rewatched some reviews of it, and like it looks just atrocious, man.
Okay, next time we hang out, what I'm gonna do is like if I come over, I'm gonna install you the emulator and I'm gonna make you play. Like I'm gonna say, dude, for
Sit
me,
down and play
focus
this,
1 hour, just 1 hour play,
yeah.
and you're gonna let me know, and I'll set it up for you and stuff, and even have a controller for you. But you're gonna play Backstage Assault before the other review we make, and we'll see if it was really worth heavily promoting it.
Which I heavily doubt, because they are heavily promoting it, like really. And it looks like they're putting more effort into promoting it than they did to actually make the game. Like,
yeah, definitely. Like, dude, it's like they put more money into marketing than the actual physics. So that's pretty sad. And it was such a terrible game, dude. I was so mad when I rented it from Super Club International. So
that's it, buddy. Good old Video International. So Jarrett, once again this week, so this is like the third week in a row,
opens up
by hitting a random guy, calling him slapnuts, and hitting him with a guitar. This sucks. Like, it has nothing to do with any storylines going on.
Right.
And it's like someone thought it was funny, so it's like, let's do it again. It's like when someone tells an unfunny joke, just don't laugh, because if you laugh, then they're gonna keep saying it.
Right, exactly. And it's just like high school style, school. Yeah,
it wasn't good the first time.
Yeah, you do that with toddlers, dude. But
exactly.
Dude, and trust me, you do that with toddlers. But you know what's interesting? This was shot on Monday.
Yeah,
I think it was shot on Monday, and they played it on Tuesday.
Monday, and so it wasn't
because they made references of like that day. Something like I remember, like, oh well, first of all, I read, but it makes sense. So they just filmed it on a Monday, and then they played it on Tuesday.
Maybe they already had the arena booked out. Like,
that's it.
It seems like WCW was very disorganized at this
time. So like they really screwed up there with maybe like scheduling, like, you know, event scheduling probably. But
they probably did. I wouldn't be surprised. So with the start, we see Sanders and Luger. They make some kind of deal, but we don't get to see the detail of it. And Luger just leaves his office. And then so Flair comes out to the ring. He says, I find this is such a horrible promo. He's like, you know what? I don't like Flair in this era. I really don't like him as the GM. Like, I don't find he pulls it off well. I find that he's a good pick for a guy to be the GM, but like the shit they make him say, like his character's stupid. Like,
very redundant, pointless.
He makes a promo like he should have done this promo backstage, because he comes out, he's like, Sid and Steiner, they won't even touch tonight at all. They won't fight. So, like, what do you think the live crowd's going to do? Boo the shit out of that, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what worst is they will touch each other after, because he's done it many times where he came out and announced something. And they couldn't even give him like the piece of waiting for 3 segments. The segment right after, they break his rules. Like, they're just like, you Flair. I didn't like him, his like his vibe, you know, like his haircut. He was weird. He was way too tan,
kind of like a younger guy. Like, he was like a
he's trying to stay relevant, I think, at the time. But it's Ric Flair. He's the nature boy, legend, bro. Even Hulk Hogan said he's my favorite. He's my #1 favorite wrestler of all time. Then he named himself second, and the third Stone Cold, even though Stone Cold really hated him. by the way, back in the
Sure.
day, and Stone Cold became one of the biggest legends. So,
I
yeah, I
remember.
didn't like Ric
Yeah.
Flair, and he was redundant, coming out repeating shit all the time. No, don't break this, don't break that, and he would just break rules under his nose.
Exactly. It was so
So,
like
very redundant.
ineffective in his job. So then Sanders comes out, and then they're like going back and forth making matches. Flair makes Steiner versus The Wall for the main event. Sanders makes Perfect Event versus the Indeciders versus Jindrak and O'Hare. Flair makes Sanders versus Sid. I just wrote LOL beside.
Yeah, dude, Sanders
He's like,
versus
yeah, well,
Sid.
fuck you. You're wrestling Sid.
Yeah, he's like, you're gonna die tonight, dude. You're gonna get power bombed, bruh, or even choke slammed. But
Yeah. And then, so that's pretty much the end of that segment. Backstage, a video from earlier in the day. Steiner beats up Corporal Cajun. So Cajun, he's gonna be hurt, like whatever he has going on later on. Then we get this promo from Sid, where like he looks so casual and like doesn't give a fuck. He's
yeah,
like, Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner. And he's kind of like casual, joking around. He doesn't.
yeah, he's saying he's ready for tonight, for Sunday, and
He's
just
not
like
in
relax.
that like Sid like looking crazy. That's
No,
not
I think he
like
came
Sid.
back from vacations. I think he was relaxed because he took a few months off, dude. We, I think he was like semi-injured. I don't know if he was just a bit injured or he took his time off because everyone took time off, dude.
Wrestle at
Yeah,
all.
so he comes back like he came back from a resort. He's like, yeah, hey.
Yeah, he's like, hey guys, I had a great time. We'll talk about that later. But
That's it.
now, like, we'll try
That's
to
it.
get back.
That's very popular. I think they were trying to steal style. Jindrak, O'Hare have a monitor. Monitors were, everywhere and backstage. Like they just scattered
they
monitors.
take the monitor out of Goldberg's dressing room, and
like
then we cut. So it's like they have these little things where it's like you got to remember that for like an hour and a half later, and sometimes I'm just like, fuck off.
That's it. It's just so annoying, dude.
I don't want to have to remember all kinds of bullshit.
For real, man. And that's what they did. You have Disco insulting Sarge. So Disco's back talking on the mic, so random.
And then Sarge screams in his face.
They couldn't have consistent storylines. It was just mixed up.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
yeah, like we didn't even see like Disco last week, even though him and Alex Wright, they had been building that storyline. Then they're
like they took so again are unorganized. Like they took a break, and then you expect to remember again what was happening the week before, the 2 weeks before.
Yeah, but like, come on. At the time, people are also switching back and forth between Raw and this. So like, what if like it's a Stone Cold segment?
Yeah,
watching Raw.
For sure.
Then, like the week before, like you missed like something. You know what I mean?
That's it, dude. So WWE was killing it at the time. You really couldn't touch them.
No, for sure. Finally, we get to match one, which I found it took quite a while to get to the first. And I find this is a horrible first match. Like normally, like even in their dying days here, they at least would get this part, which I mean, not every company does it, but even like when I was running my own wrestling shows here on a local Quebec level, or having input or giving ideas for shows that I worked on, I always, this is like a trope of a show that I think is good. Start off with a cruiserweight match.
Yeah, absolutely. Get everyone excited. 100%.
Don't start off, especially with people who aren't good wrestlers. Like don't have like they could have had Lance Storm versus the Cat, fine. Don't have Miss Jones and Major Guns wrestling in your first match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you can't set the tone of a wrestling show like that.
No, it starts out with that. Like yeah, you could have started at Cat, even though Cat wasn't a good wrestler. Cat versus Lance Storm. Lance Storm would have probably carried the whole match.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you would have carried the match, but I totally, you know what? I never thought of that. I agree because you can't set the tone. You don't know but There was no tone. Let's there is no tone actually. Like you're taking the right, like as a writer and an organizer and a commentator, you delve in that world. I don't think they even edited their scripts and the fucking
they're
shows.
just like
they threw it in. People came in, improvised.
They're
that's
just
it.
stressing to get it out by the deadline, let alone
they leave out little details which make their so ridiculous. And
you see backstage segments of people doing stuff and then not.
That's it.
It's like the guy's setting something up, and you don't see him for the rest of the show. Like,
that's it. Just a month before, they were pulling it off. They were starting it out with solid triple tag team, cruiserweights, like good stuff, and then they go to this. So at least they didn't start it with Reno and Marie.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Might as well.
So the Cat and Storm, they agree that like the loser will have to sing the other one's national anthem on Thunder, which is like a dumb thing, but whatever. At least it's some kind of stipulation, I guess. Storm tries his best to really carry the match. But I mean, fuck, yeah, how much can he do? Crime Time and Duggan interfere. Duggan costs Storm the match by throwing in the 2x4, and the Cat ends up getting it. And Duggan doesn't look pissed about it. I don't remember Duggan turning back face here. But
I do remember him not being affiliated with Team Canada anymore, but it wasn't like officialized in a segment. I think he just, from the last match, I think he was in the last pay-per-view. Was it possible? I think no, or was he still a heel?
Well, I remember at one point, Storm lost a match, and he comes backstage and he's bitching at Duggan like, "You're the veteran, Duggan. Like, why weren't you there?" Remember?
Right. Exactly. And then it was super personal.
I don't even remember what Storm ends up doing at the end of WCW.
I
can't remember.
I don't remember. I see him? No, I see him on the last Nitro. He loses the titles. No, like he gains them back at some point, right? And then someone wins the titles on the last Nitro.
I know that Elix Skipper ends up having a tag team partner, doesn't he? Like a cruiserweight tag team partner.
Kid Romeo?
Yeah, so he leaves Team Canada. Team Canada ends up probably splitting up.
Yeah, at some point.
I remember Storm
calmly
being in Team Canada.
That's it. So you're right.
We'll
Something
see.
like that.
Well, we'll see that. At least
I'm excited now because I forgot.
Exactly.
Like interesting. I'm excited, but rating for the match, I don't know, D+ maybe. I didn't know Cat was this over, by the way, in Louisiana.
Oh yeah, he was popular here.
Yeah, like he's super popular, dude. So
as we were saying, he wasn't great in the ring, but he was popular.
So you were fooled at the time. You're like, oh, okay, this guy sucks, but people love him. So I mean, this is what people want to see, maybe. Like
like.
Depends on the local.
Time, I didn't think he was that bad of a character, but looking back, I don't like him actually.
After this match, we have Jimmy Hart starting a radio network, and he is still vying to. Dude, guys, this has been going on for what, a month now?
Stop showing Jimmy Hart on TV.
Like, come on, man! Like Jimmy Hart, bro, he legend. You should be writing, the themes. By the way, yeah, so he was writing the themes. Definitely Baby Boomer. Yeah, bro. So, anyways, let's just skip Jimmy Hart.
Backstage, we have the Misfits in action having a meeting. Corporal Cajun is going to be fighting Shane Douglas later. Douglas has beef with the Misfits because Rection injured Tori a couple weeks earlier. And so Rection and Douglas, they'll end up fighting at Starrcade. But also they're talking about how AWOL has a world title match against Steiner in the main event.
Right, they give him a pep talk. Yeah.
Again. I mean, it could be a good match, but like we're 5 days out from Starrcade.
No way AWOL's going to win the title.
And Sid are going for the title. No one thinks that the main event of Starrcade is going to be AWOL against Sid, and that Steiner's just not going to be booked.
Well, I highly doubt it.
So
I highly doubt it, bro.
That's my main argument against this era being.
Yeah, dude. Like they just didn't care for like the rules of wrestling. To be honest, like between me and you, like they really,
they couldn't find anyone who would fucking care. Like care.
No, man. So
Backstage, Thrillers. They're talking about the tag match, and Sanders adds
adds
Chronic. So it's
Chronic
gonna be a four-way.
to the
So it's
three-way
like-
dance.
So it's like not only do they have the ads stacked in their deck, having two teams in the triple threat. So it's
Right.
like two teams versus one. Now it's like going to be three teams versus one.
Reno's annoyed.
Yeah, Reno hates Chronic from what happened. But like he already has beef with Chronic.
All right.
So yeah,
And
he
then
doesn't
and then
agree with that.
randomly
O'Hare's
you have-
like, he's right, man.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I agree. Randomly, we have Crowbar and Daphne on commentary again, like super random. You know, like I understand when it's a big, you know, like star, like, you know, just like Nash comes and sits down, or Goldberg, or, you know, like Booker T, or like, you know, big champs. Then you have Crowbar, Daphne.
Crowbar is like, why am I out here? And then he keeps doing
Absolutely.
this weird noise like,
Yeah, like weird, you know, like cartoony, like, you know, Warner
crack.
Brothers Animaniac style, you know, voice
like a
effects,
sound effect, like he's a damn
like,
cartoon.
which is popular in the ring, by the way, represent. But yeah, so Norman Smiley, which is probably my daughter's favorite wrestler of all time, screaming Norman Smiley issues an open challenge, actually, for a hardcore match. So he's still in the mix. Like we saw him wrestle in '99, some 2000, fairly good amount,
But
and then
feels
he's
like we
back
haven't
on the
seen him
scene.
for a
Yeah,
bit.
so but it's very
For a bit.
exactly, it's very random. We didn't have like, you know, Norman Smiley feuding with Reno. They should have done something crazy like that, you know, not some weird
Norman Smiley was a
family.
popular character.
He was a good wrestler too, you know.
I think
He's funny.
he was probably the most memorable WCW hardcore champion.
Yes.
You know.
If you said hardcore, you would think of him and Brian Knobbs, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, like really, you're right. So like, you know, I've worked at a bunch of different places, and one philosophy, like, especially if you're like if shit's not going well, like in a day or something, like just put all your team all at their strongest position. If someone's no good at customer service, put them back on, like, if they love doing like the fucking IT shit, put them on
Let
the
them do the IT stuff.
You know what I mean? If one, you know what I mean? Don't, if shit's not doing good, don't like stick to what you're good at and do that.
Exactly. Don't try to go out of your way and do another task. And you're right, as a manager myself. Exactly, bro. I'm not gonna put the guy that does the, you know, like, it's like you can't get the chef to serve,
to be a go out there and start
need your guy in the front of the house to talk to him. And in WCW, they did not follow that. It's the same thing. Yes, it's a show, but you can send, you know, someone that does a lot of talking to go into a main event, vice versa.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Open the match. Anyways,
so like,
Meng,
in putting Norman Smiley back in the hardcore division, I think they're doing a good job, because like that's where he excels,
shines. Exactly, that's where he shines. So we jump to Meng, which I enjoyed Meng, honestly, because I knew he was a tough SOB back in the day as well, and even lately I've been watching a lot of videos about him being
loves Meng,
a legend, dude. No one played with him. Like, Meng was full real, and he would beat up people at bars all the time, bro. Like 2-on-1, 3-on-1.
And he wrestled for a long time in the Quebec territory.
Yeah,
he going to WWF. So I'm sure a lot of people got the shit kicked out of them in bars in Montreal by that motherfucker, and they're like,
"Here,
what the fuck was that, man?" You know, imagine this guy on Saint Laurent in the 80s.
Yeah, dude, beating up people.
You know, so Meng is with Paisley. So like this era, everyone has a freaking valet, even Meng with a valet. I just find that hilarious. You know, Smiley says he's going back to the hardcore, and Meng, so Meng just basically beats the hell out of him. Smiley, that was like basically his role, wear like the pads and
Slavia come out and be crazy and scream all the time.
Smiley steals a bag of toys from a Santa that's going around the crowd, and he starts using them as weapons. And then unfortunately, this is where the match, like, okay, I had such a weird feeling. I felt that the match was ruined, and then I didn't care, and then I thought it was 10 times better. Like when the Santa Claus came in and the ref called a DQ, I was like, this is a hardcore match. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen, a hardcore match ending by DQ.
Like,
but
how can you?
It was fucking Terry Funk. So I was like, fuck, I don't care. It's Terry Funk.
Yeah, you forgot about it. You're representing him at the moment. Terry Funk, bro, just came out of nowhere. And I remember him coming back out of nowhere, and I was happy because, dude, Terry Funk was for real.
Hardcore. And the hardcore division?
And he's back, and we know he's getting old, and he's old, and he still was hardcore, bro. So Terry Funk, huge props, one of the. So honestly,
it really felt like that feels like a move that they're really trying. You know, they're really trying to at least go get guys. They're not just like, well, whatever. We'll just like put one of the Natural Born Thrillers in there or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And so Terry Funk, I'm happy he's around. So he challenges Crowbar to a hardcore match.
He's my idol, though. He says so.
Yeah. So
definitely.
That should be
some respect right there for sure. So that I liked. Sarge is giving Lex Luger on the most horrible show, Thunder. Lazy show.
Yeah, Sarge wants to fight Luger on Thunder. Exactly.
And Goldberg tonight.
Yeah, Sanders is forcing him to fight Goldberg if he wants to fight Luger later. So Sarge, this guy had been a jobber basically in WCW since like 1989, maybe 1990. He was part of like the WCW State Patrol, I think they were called. And all the way from the days when WCW was recording TV at Center Stage in Atlanta, and they would just give out free tickets to anyone walking down the street in downtown Atlanta.
That would have been so cool. Imagine me and you walking down Atlanta, and then they're like, "Hey, guys," and we're like 14. What are you guys doing in the streets of Atlanta? None of your business. But we're going to a WCW show. So
people would drop off their kids there. It was like a daycare for some people. You'd see so many kids in the crowd. They would just drop off their kids.
Also, yeah, for sure. Harris Brothers eating sandwiches.
Yeah. Another
back to these two that I don't like. Eating sandwiches on top, which is annoying to watch, by the way. But
yeah, they have like comically large submarines, like 12-foot like a 12-foot.
Arc off. What's funny is we cut to the filthy animals who put laxatives in their sandwiches. By the way, we did that once to Madame Vigneault. I don't know if
classic high school pranks of people.
Yeah, so laxatives. I'm not gonna reveal, but I was, it was orchestrated and I was involved, by the way. But I'm not gonna reveal who did it. But she left class after 30 minutes, dude. We counted. Like with the nice big claw.
That shit's effective.
Super effective. So they put laxatives, and then it cuts back to Steiner saying he's gonna knock down.
That's like at the time, pranks, like, okay, the week before they egged someone, now they're giving people laxatives. Like those were both legit pranks that like people we knew were pulling all the time back in those exact days.
At school.
At school. So, yeah, like I don't know if everyone's high school had that, but there was eggs at ours for sure.
So it was very relatable with us. We were like, oh my God, this is so cool. Or it might have even inspired us to get, become even bigger.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go look in the old medicine cabinet, see what we got here. I can put in tomorrow.
So it's hilarious, by the way. But then we have AWOL, who's ready for Morris. And he's down for a war with Shane Douglas.
Yeah, and we've said it. We've said it before about AWOL. I guess Rection, I guess both these guys, they never really got a shot when WCW was bought by WWE. Rection, they used them as like a coach.
Yeah, to train wrestler. He was pretty rough too. He used to assault a lot of his.
Indeed, but I could have seen these guys like, what if they just took them both and put them in the tag team division as a team in WWF? That could have maybe been something because they were decent, They were better than some guys WWF had at the time, I would say.
True. to be honest. We jumped to Lash is facing Shane, I think, tonight. He's using some of Chavo's lines to, wreck Shane's annoyance because they're like, don't talk to him. This guy's not one of us, etc. Anyways, blabber blabber. We jump to Mike Sanders versus Sid Vicious.
Yeah, so Sanders like, oh, I approved my own medical note, so I say I can't wrestle tonight, so too bad.
Lol.
Sid just comes out in street clothes and beats the shit out of him anyways. And afterward, Sid says, Sid like grabs the mic and says like some promo in reference to Stevie Ray, who's on commentary, and then he says, Mama says it'll be that way sometimes, and then he's just laughing like he's not in character in the last 2 weeks. Sid here.
Yeah, he's not
joking around.
He's not the Millennium Man. Yeah, because what did he say? He says, "Suck, I ain't got no
some
class."
Inside joke to Stevie Ray, and Stevie Ray's like, "What? Is he really saying that?"
And it was awkward, but like, yeah, I don't know if he was on pills or something from his injury. He's like, "Hey, happy."
But one thing
maybe
here, we got 3 weeks ago now, or like 2 weeks earlier, shall I say? We got Stevie Ray losing and having to retire to Scott Steiner. And that was like to back up Booker T. But we haven't seen Booker T again on this show. He wasn't there last week. He's not there this week. And I don't
think he took a break.
He obviously isn't going to wrestle on Starrcade because they would have built up to that, I assume. So maybe he's hurt or he took a break. But Booker T is a big missing piece here. And looking back on it, I didn't remember Booker T not being around at this time. I always remember Booker T being there the whole time.
Yeah, to me too. Like when you say WCW 2000, I'd say Jeff Jarrett. I would say Booker T.
Yeah. And you know who else we haven't seen in the past 2 weeks? Buff Bagwell.
Yeah, him as well. I don't know if he was suspended for pulling some shit backstage or
we
probably
watching the Thunders. Maybe there's different wrestlers on the Thunder.
Yeah, that's true. We should do a Thunder pretty soon just for fun, like a really bad one.
Okay, let's do. We're gonna do next week. We got to do Starrcade. Let's do the Thunder after Starrcade.
Right. So we'll do
Thunder. If we can find it.
If we can find, I think I can. I'll hook you up. It's in a full pack. You have to like uncheck everything and download it, dude. Yeah, we'll find it. Don't worry. For sure, we got this.
Sid shows up in
attacks an attendant, I think, a parking lot attendant right there.
He shows up in a minivan.
And he demands all the keys.
And comes back in a minivan.
Like it's so random. A minivan. He demands all the keys to all the cars.
Yeah, like he's like, give me the keys.
Like something's gonna happen, we know, and with cars and stuff. We jump to, I think, Chronic, who beats Reno down.
At this point, Chronic attack Reno, and
Vito tries to make a save.
Yeah, so it's going to be Chronic versus Reno and Vito at Starrcade. I guess like that's an okay build, but I'm pretty sure Chronic was main eventing a pay-per-view like
not too long
ago. Now they're like in the like lowest
echelon. Of the yeah, for real. So yeah, but like same with Double J, not as bad. It was cool. Yeah. He went back to mid card, but they kept swapping. That's because maybe they didn't mind. They were actually
sometimes that's okay, but like if you're building someone, usually
exactly shouldn't,
because they were building them. They could have used them like strong here. They could have been. You know what? I'll just say right away. I think I would have preferred to see a Chronic versus Insiders feud than Insiders versus Natural Born Thrillers, because at least Chronic would have like done some actual moves to them instead of just like
like smashing them all the time. Exactly. But yeah, that would have made more sense, because also you have two icons versus the two big guys, and that would have played out better than just I think they were trying to do old versus young.
Yeah.
Nash and DDP were like, we're doing these guys a favor. We're putting them over by feuding with us.
Right. They're actually doing that.
Maybe they're like, thank you. They're bowing down. They're like, thank you.
Yeah.
We're thoughtful.
So because they attacked Reno, Chronic are like not going to be in that tag match in the end. So we get the tag match. It's a triple threat. The two Natural Born Thrillers teams versus the Insiders. The two Natural Born Thrillers teams just come out together like one entrance.
They're 4, dude. It's 4-on-2.
Yeah. So they just beat the hell out of Nash and DDP. And for the first time in like a month, Nash actually took a bump in this match. He actually took a bump for Palumbo's jumping super kick, which he called the jungle kick.
Right.
And Palumbo actually gets the pin on Nash here. So maybe Nash is like, look, we're building up to Starrcade. I'll at least like I'll put in a bit of work today.
Hey, at least he gave that.
Well, Nash here, like, I guess you can consider this giving back. Like, he's going to be wrestling these younger guys at Starrcade, which is a big pay-per-view. Like, 2 years before, he ended Goldberg's streak at Starrcade.
Yeah, for sure. This was an iconic
he's not
moment.
Still making sure that he's that high up.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think he got the idea there. Like, hey, let's put these guys, and they were probably all friends too. You know, like, they probably all chilled and drank and did some crazy shit after the shows.
Probably, yeah. So we get Sarge versus Goldberg next. Sarge's song is like some kind of pop punk, like fake Blink-182 song.
Really, it does not fit with him. Like, dude, that's really not what you see Sarge coming out. I thought it was more like army-esque.
Military, like just like drums.
Military-esque, like boot camp stuff. Because he used to be feared. Like, yeah, man. Like, dude, he was. People were fearing him in the back, like in the beginning, because he looks like.
No one wanted to be like coached by him because he'd like.
No, because he was harsh and he was a real drill instructor, dude. So no games there.
That's it.
Versus Goldberg on top. So
Goldberg at first he's refusing to fight him, and then Sarge like starts like kind of forcing him to, because Luger comes out and he reminds Goldberg like, if you don't wrestle him, then you lose, and if you lose, you're gone, because Goldberg
your streak
doesn't reach up to his streak and go past it, then he's fired. So then he wouldn't get to fight Luger on Starrcade. So basically both these guys have to fight each other, or else neither of them will get to fight Luger. Which Sarge would be at Thunder, as they said, or Goldberg, that would be at Starrcade, as we also said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next, we get, so obviously Goldberg wins with a spear and a jackhammer. Jamie Noble, he goes up to Kiwi and Crowbar backstage. Evan Courageous is there, and Evan Courageous is like, guys, you got to see what Sid is doing backstage. In the parking lot, I mean. So then they cut again. We get a cut. So
then they cut. So yeah, we see Sid in the parking lot. Yeah, for real. They're building something. So then we jump to Shane Douglas.
Shane Douglas taking on Corporal Cajun. And yeah, so up to this point, I'd say this was like the best match. Like the Sarge Goldberg match, like pretty much sucked. The first match sucked. Sid versus Sanders obviously wasn't even a match, and the Insiders getting beat down was hardly even a match too. So this is like basically your first match of the show.
For real.
And Chavo comes out, he gives it's such a dumb ending though. He just gives Corporal Cajun the chair. He uses it and like right in front of the ref like a dumbass and gets DQ'd.
Yeah, like he got caught.
Yeah. And then Rection comes out. He's all pissed. Franchise uses the chain. So they're building. The whole show is a build to Starrcade 2000, as we said.
Yeah. Very, very, very disastrous.
Which isn't even going to be that great of a pay-per-view from this build.
That's surprising.
Matches I am a little interested to see. But, I mean, like Sid, we haven't even seen him really have a match yet. So, like you were saying, is he coming back from injury? Is he out of shape? Is he even going to be ready to wrestle?
Yeah, because he didn't come back as Millennium Man, that's for sure.
No, exactly.
It jumps to one of the Harris twins has a stomach ache.
Yeah.
So the X.
And Derek's like, whatever, like, let's go.
Yeah. He's like, don't forget about it, tough it out. But then we see Sid's playing with the cars.
Yeah, he's like, And this doesn't even make sense to like what he ends up doing later. For some reason, he's like displacing all the cars in the parking lot and bringing them like towards the door.
Like, what is he up to?
What the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, like, what is he up to?
It doesn't even make sense at all. So then Mike Awesome challenges Bam Bam to an ambulance match at Starrcade.
At Starrcade.
Even though we didn't see Bam Bam on this week or last week's Nitro, or we haven't seen Mike Awesome wrestle in the past 2 weeks. But okay.
But he says,
I'm not mad at it, but yeah, what does he say? He's like,
he says, thankfully, he's ready for the career killer to come back.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh man, 70s bullshit's gonna be finished, you know. Like, let's keep that to Fox and Eric Foreman and Kitty and Red.
Yeah.
Let's just eliminate this and come back to what you do best. Kind of reminds me a lot of Orton's Legend Killer style, you know, like
yeah, just like
early days for sure. So that's good. 70s guys dying. You don't want that shit. Jarrett and the company there, his crew are ready for Sunday. One of the twins, again, they're focusing that he's not looking so good. He's probably gonna shed his pants. Yeah. And Tony loves this. He finds this hilarious, bro. Like, just too funny. So right after that, we jump to the Jarrett Harris twins versus the Filthy Animals. So another real match, really later on.
And this is like this exact match is a match that's going to be on Starrcade. So I always think that that's like a bad idea, but like WWE does it sometimes. Every Fed has done it. Like the same match, you're basically giving away the match from the pay-per-view, but it doesn't play out obviously the same way because here both Harrises can't compete, and it's an elimination match. So
but it's not a big change from the actual match itself on the pay-per-view. Like when WWE did it, they pulled it off because it would be a far-fetched ending that would make sense, and we'd be like, "Oh no, we want to see the real match. Like we want to see." True. So the real result. So you're excited for it. WCW tried to do that, but obviously failed because the product itself from A to Z sucked.
Pretty much, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So at one point, like Jarrett does get some offense in here and there, but it's basically a handicap match. He eliminates Conan, who, as we were saying, also last
again week, first one out.
Loss, or he's the first
dude, he wants to finish early his shift. He wants to go do his thing.
Let's go smoke some dank backstage.
Yeah, dank, bro, and then watch the show and probably eat.
Yeah, have some free catering and chill.
That's it, bro.
So then Ray ends up pinning Jarrett. It could have been a bit of a better wrestling, like, you know, in-ring product match, but how they did it as a build, I find for a TV match is not that bad. It's fine. And at the pay-per-view, it gives them a chance to actually have the match. And I'm definitely not complaining because I don't want to see the Harris Brothers wrestle in the first place. So like,
yeah, for real.
Them not being there didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, seriously. And now they're back and they're entangled and annoying. You know, thought it was funny. I don't really. But got laxatives.
Them and Jarrett together, they belong together, I find.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's the end of that segment. Sid backstage still
has his little plan almost ready again, so we don't know what he's gonna do. If he's gonna, like, you know, I don't know, like do a hardcore. He's gonna light them on fire and be like, all right, we're gonna wrestle right here. Probably not, but he's up to something by.
Is he going to assault him backstage?
That's it. So, so Steiner. So now we jump to
main
the
event,
WCW.
Steiner versus the Wall. WCW title.
John, what were your picks? Did you really think that AWOL was going to win? Or
exactly, it's way too predictable.
Like, you know, dude, you know, it's the main event as well. Come on, like,
it would have been more predictable had the title not been on the line, because then it would have been like, oh, maybe they're not putting the title on the line because he's gonna win. But with the title on the line, 5 days away from a pay-per-view, no way that AWOL is gonna win. Steiner, he cuts a promo saying if Flair ever strips him of the belt, he's going to go to redneck North Carolina and kick the hell out of him, kick his ass. Steiner's going nuts in this match. He tells the crowd that they're a fan in the crowd, their mother sucks. You know, typical crazy Steiner.
Dude, he didn't care. Like he was trying to bring the attitude, and he could, but you felt that it was real. Like this wasn't scripted, dude. From his rage,
wouldn't mess with this dude.
That's why he was so credible, because I think he was just really enraged. Like he
He's
can
like
get into
the
character
most
getting enraged.
Interesting character on the show.
I agree, man, for sure.
So Steiner dominates the beginning. The Wall at one point gets some offense in. He hits some chops, hits a big boot. They use weapons on the outside, and they actually brawl like it's a pretty hard brawl. They're like,
yeah, look rough.
Yeah,
like Steiner versus a big guy, and AWOL, he was a big guy, so he probably Steiner didn't hold back.
Yeah, neither of them are holding back. It's back and forth. The Wall brings the table in the ring, but Steiner gets in control before he can use it. The Wall choke slams him. Doesn't go for the pin though. It looks like the Wall at this point, it's like he could have won the match. Goes to pick him back up for another choke slam, but trying through the table. Steiner reverses. T-bone suplex through the table. Steiner recliner.
And then retains the title. Easy win.
The Wall taps, but hey, it was a decent match, but just predictable, unfortunately. And yeah, I would say it was the best match of the night, but that's a good thing because your main event should always be your best match of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you were waiting for to finish the show. And I thought here they tried to bring the ACW vibe on like a bigger stage. Yeah, like on a bigger stage, obviously WCW platform, but it doesn't really work. But I see what they were trying to do.
Yeah, like they have the relaxed rules. And,
yeah, exactly. Which doesn't.
Chaotic. Yeah,
that's it.
They could
nonsense.
never pull off the ECW vibe because ECW, all the story was like so mixed perfectly together.
Right.
Like
exactly.
Continuity.
Absolutely. So Heyman pulled it off well, man. So
for sure.
Steiner chokes AWOL with the pipe. So again, he's crazy. He's choking him. So we see Sid finally up on screen, and he says that they can't fight in the arena, to come fight with them in the parking lot. So now it clicks. He's up to something. He says, come fight in the parking lot. Is he gonna run him over Stone Cold, Steve Austin style? We don't know.
Steiner runs backstage, and so then they actually end up brawling in the parking lot. Which, like, they're going back to what was the point of Sid bringing all those cars closer?
I think he made a ring out of it.
He's trying kind of make an area for them to fight or something.
So, dude, they took all that time. Yeah, they're surrounding us. So they took all that time to set up the parking lot ring, like the cars.
And then maybe this was to sell that By God video game Backstage Assault.
Prez, you're brilliant. That's exactly it, I think.
It had to be that. It really had to be that. So they're fighting. They fight on some cars. They dent in some cars. You could tell, though, that these were old, shitty secondhand cars that they got for this because, there's no way that, these, rich guys are driving some, 80s car.
Beat up Oldsmobiles, yeah. They probably bought them from the nearest local, probably junkyard or even they even had the money. They're like, all right, we'll give you $100K for all this.
Yeah, just give us a bunch of cars.
Just give us a bunch of crappy cars. We're gonna pull this off and get some good ratings, man.
So I don't know. What did you give this episode overall?
2 on 10.
I also give it 2 on 10.
The sole thing, the only reason, I'm going to be honest with you, I gave 2 on 10 was for the main event. The actual wrestling the main event part of it, of Steiner and AWOL, big props. I know it's not his fault. But 2 on 10, literally. The rest, dude, by here already, by then, I'm already impatient, not impatient, it's boring. I've lost patience with, trying to enjoy it. The only way I enjoy it is when I laugh. Dude, I can't do it much. So I'm really not looking forward to Thunder. That's for sure. But
next up, so next we'll watch Starrcade. For our next episode, we'll watch Starrcade.
Not looking forward to that either, by the way, because I got a preview and a glimpse of all the matches, and we know who's gonna win probably. There might be a title change, an out of nowhere title change, but I'm not convinced.
So we've seen the full build here.
Yo, Prez.
Definitely, it's not This won't be the
Prez.
greatest Starcade of all time. But, you know, there was some really bad Starcades. So it might not be the worst either. Like, there's like some Starcades where the whole thing was like the lethal lottery and like it's just stupid tag matches.
87 was good.
Oh yeah, the old ones were very good.
87 was great. Yeah, some of the early 90s ones were weird. 97 was pretty good, like opening up and hyping it, and the end
was amazing.
The hype was huge, bro, for over a year, man. I think that's what they were hyping. So like over a year, imagine the opening matches were great, but man. And then 98, 99
That
was
sucked of 98 too.
99, something sad happened in the main event where our guy Bret the Hitman Hart. Yeah, so Starcade really can't compare it to WrestleMania.
No, unfortunately.
To be honest, unfortunately, they tried to do that, and then we said Halloween Havoc might take the place of you know, maybe
like Halloween Havoc might
show.
actually be their biggest event, like if you look back historically.
So when they promoted Starcade 2000, they were trying to, I think, make it big by, you know, throwing in all these crazy matches.
It didn't feel that big, though.
No,
it didn't feel like people were like flying from all over the world to go see this event. Like they did WrestleMania.
Because dude, that Starcade was about to compete with 2001 WrestleMania, which is the best WrestleMania in my opinion of all time.
And even 2002 was so solid at this time.
You can't. Yeah, they were gonna die. And
even if WCW was better, they still would have not been close. It would have been really hard to be as good as WWE.
No, dude, the venues, the shows were beautifully written. Like there was no way.
So much attention to detail and
big time.
Top-notch product at the time.
Be honest, it's sad now to see the WCW is in the state. Like it's rapidly declining, and you can see in a lot of the storylines, the structure of the shows, the interest that we had.
One thing happens on this show that I forgot to mention. At one point, I can't remember who it is. I think it might be Steiner and AWOL. They're brawling, and they brawl beside the stage. And for some reason, the old commentary booth from the beginning era of Nitro is still set up, but they hadn't used that for like 2 years.
Dude, do you think they just left it in the arena and then they're like,
the guys who do the setups, they're like, that's our job. We just like set this up. Like, we don't ask questions. And the other people just don't even use it anymore. So they're just doing that for no reason.
Well, that's interestingly weird, actually. Like, what was the reasoning behind that? Why would you leave the old stage there, dude? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like the elevated stage. And it even had like 2 kind of cages for girls to dance on attached to it.
But dude, I don't, because you know they do that if they're shooting 2 of them back to back in the same venue, which they never ever did. So that means that they were probably lazy and they're like, well, they're gonna come back here, so let's just leave the set. You know, that would explain the 2-year hiatus of not, you know, putting things away. Like you've done shows, every show you finish, you pick it up.
Yeah.
Unless they knew that they were coming back to the city and said, hey, you know, maybe, you know, but good eye that you caught that.
No, but yeah, like you're actually right about that though. Like if you're going back to a venue recently or like,
but it's still funny to see because
like often, then like sometimes you do leave your shit set up sometimes.
But it's still haunting to see because you're seeing the old set. Yeah, it's like going in, you know, your gym in your high school and opening the closet and you see like equipment from like the 70s. Remember we used to see that? What the fuck? Why is there shit from the 70s? Like these hockey sticks look like they're from 1979, bro. Exactly. So it's kind of like that. So, and you know, the set sucked after that and that bullshit Matrix.
For
ripping off
on Nitro. I'll never get over the blue ropes.
Yeah, like dude, that's insult. Like that's like putting blue SmackDown ropes on a Raw. Like it's
exactly.
Just that ruins the atmosphere of the just that little detail right there. So depressing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been another episode of the Turner Podcasting System right here on indiequebec.com. Thanks for following us. Thanks for listening. Stinger, why don't you leave the fans with some words of advice here, some words of wisdom from the Stinger?
So words of wisdom, guys, is if you'd like to watch the next WCW shows, I would recommend for you to go to your local SQDC if you are into that, and then pick yourself out a strain which makes you just not care of content that's in front of you, because
So
you're
more
gonna
on the
need it.
indica side.
More on the indica side. And this show is brought to you by Indie Wrestling. Guys, thank you for following us. And Indica. So, as I would like to say thank you, guys. You enjoy your day, your week. The weather is getting warmer, so very happy for that, and we look forward to shooting. We have a lot of good stuff coming. Big props to everyone. And Stinger is out for the week. Montreal wrestling fans, have yourself a beautiful day and week. Mwah.